if you can hear the rain.
Yes, I'm already recording. And of course, because when you get access to the brilliant minds like Peter, like my guest today, you want to stretch the time and kidnap him, not just for 1 hour. Though he has hard stop, I have to be aware of that and talk less me, but I have to I don't have, but I'm very, very glad to introduce my guest today. So welcome again to Diversity is the Game Changer, and I'm so honored and privileged to host my very good friend now, and I hope for many decades in the future as well. So please help me to welcome Peter Mary. And the title of the podcast is Bridging Emerging Consciousness and Practical Innovation, combining wisdom, system thinking, and entrepreneurial, speaking of language, right? French. Entrepreneurial action. Nice. With Peter Mary. I've stolen it from your LinkedIn. I love it. So welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good, I'm very well, thank you. Last day before I go off on holiday for 2 weeks to the woods, so yeah,
so
nice
cool.
way ahead.
I'm your dessert, or you're my dessert before they actually you get really big dessert like holiday. Amazing. Okay, and then let me introduce yourself, and I'm trying to be short, but you have of course accomplished and achieved so much. So how can we like compress and put it even in 1 hour? But again, because I want people to get access when you talking also, I try to just put what I believe is the most important for this episode. So let's me intro, and then please help me remind that it's not me who should be talking all the time. Then it's your mic. So welcome to the Diversity is the Game Changer, the podcast where we explore how embracing diverse perspectives transforms lives, systems, and societies. Today's episode is a deep dive into the soul of transformation, from my guest childhood roots to future shaping innovation. We will get that. So get ready for a real inspiring mind expanding journey with me and Peter. So introduction. Our guest today is a visionary system thinker, educator, author, entrepreneur. Oh, now I'm better with this word. Someone who doesn't just talk about change, but engineers it from the inside out. Peter is the founder of Wyrd Technology, and he will explain not weird, but weird. How you say it?
Weird.
Okay, cool. A cutting-edge initiative that blends consciousness and technology to help humanity reconnect with its deeper intelligence. Through decades of work, though he is very young, but he put here decades, okay, of work in social transformation, spiral dynamics, and integral frameworks, he has guided governments, leaders, organizations, community toward deeper understanding and authentic innovation. In addition, Peter is the author of 4 groundbreaking books, I believe more now soon, that became essential reads for any leader or change maker navigating the tides of our challenging era, I would say, even more for Ukrainians probably. Okay, co-founder Ubiquity University, love it, I tried to pronounce it this morning. He is designing transformative learning experience that empower people to grow from the inside out. And his mission, this is last one, I promise, to act as a bridge between mainstream systems and frontier consciousness, helping us evolve personally, socially, and ecologically. Please help me welcome to the show the only one, Peter Mary. Woo! Okay. And my last before real mic is yours. It's actually because I need to be a little bit facilitator. So we jump backwards because I know, and you know, presence and future without roots and past, it's actually not possible, first of all. And we would like today to discover a little bit about the kingdom of little Peter, how that boy was, and how your childhood mindset shaped actually the person you are today, all decisions. And so please welcome us to your roots and still echoes in your work life, everything what you're doing today. Thank you. Now Mike is yours.
Thank you. Wow. Well, it's great to be here. Thanks for the invite to join. Interesting. Diversity is the game changer, as the title, because when you talk about my roots, my mother is a Quaker and a children's nurse, and my father was a mechanical engineer and a Royal Naval officer, and they're two very diverse perspectives, but they both kind of blended into my DNA. And I think that has definitely influenced who I've become, because on the one hand, from my mother's side, I've got the kind of a visionary piece, the connection to the importance of social change, of respect for the planet and people and all of that kind of thing. But very quickly, if I'm hearing lots of great ideas and things, I start thinking, okay, but what can you do with this? You've got to turn it into something, make it real in the world, which is my father's kind of engineering grounded strand of the DNA. So yeah, really that mix of values alignment and positive impact in the world, but also very practical in terms of, okay, how are we going to do this? Are we going to build a business or an organization around this? How are we going to actually manifest these ideas into something that's going to be useful for people? So those kind of, I think, from the very roots, as it were, have definitely influenced who I've become.
Thank you so much for your sharing story and like threading already the subject of the podcast. Yes, and the diversity, it is true. It's like you mentioned, it's the awareness to see the beauty of differences, but also to be able to integrate and to marry them. Oh, marry people, to marry them, right? And what you can do with this, because like for me, yes, I'm talking, I'm doer as well, but sometimes I need somebody like maybe your father could, because I didn't have a father. I just grew up with my mother. So like, okay, Valeria, but what we are doing now, let's call to action, like, pull sometimes from the sky. Amazing. And I do believe, and I can feel it, that you've got like really unwavering support from both sides, and you could marry them, and then the production, what you're doing today, amazing. In terms of diversity of thoughts and building inclusive ecosystem environments, everything what you are doing, and like I mentioned already, your author, you became your books really became very changeable. Not provoked, maybe provoked. I need to read, actually, can you please after send me a book that I next time till we meet each other, I can also be a little bit Peter Mary and embody that as well. Okay, but my question, from everything what you've been doing and doing now, and especially for me, it's so dying interesting about Ubiquity University, right? Because frankly speaking, before I came to the retreat and saw it first time, I never heard about this word. So in all your contributions, great stuff, what you are doing every single day, right? And if you could again marry that with diversity of thoughts and all this beautiful range of perspectives, right? How you believe we can do it, that it will be a rich collaboration, it will not be competition. And then we know it's better social resilience and sustainability, and then everything can be like, I believe connected, the past, the present, and the future. But in terms of what you're doing, it's so interesting. So that's why I really now not speaking anymore. Can you tell us and walk us through your career, how you changed a little bit, because I do believe in the storytelling. So university books and just a little bit spicy with diversity of thoughts. That's it. Your mic flow what you want. Tell us.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I think when you said story, I thought of a story of the bees and how bees function, which actually illustrates why diversity and diversity of thought is important at this time, and therefore why I've chosen to do what I'm doing. Because in the bees, when they know where the source of pollen is, the energy goes to the worker bees, and they're just sent to go back and forth to get the pollen. But when the pollen source dries up, that message gets back to the hive, and the hive takes the resources away from the worker bees and gives it to what they call the scout bees. And the scout bees are what we might call diversity generators. They go out there and they look for all sorts of different possible sources of pollen to bring back to the hive. And then, you know, this famous dance of the bees they talk about, when the bees do this dance above the hive, is encoded information as to where the next source of pollen is. So other bees will look at the dance and go, okay, over that way. So they'll go and check out that source of pollen as well. And once there's kind of seems to be an agreement, comes back to the hive, and the hive goes, okay, we know where the next source of pollen is now. The energy back to the worker bees, and the worker bees, the conformity enforcers, right, go back and forth, because they know where the solution is. Now, where we are at this time with humanity, we've been conformity enforcing basically since the Industrial Revolution. And now we know that that source of inspiration and that way of thinking about the world has dried up as a useful way of humanity, you know, navigating its place on the earth. So what we need now is to take the resources away from the conformity enforcement and give them to the diversity generators, because we need to find radically new ways of doing things, ways of thinking at the moment. So it's a time right now for diversity generation, for kind of radical R&D across the board, as humanity looks to kind of find a way to survive first and then thrive in collaboration with the rest of life on the planet. And I guess that's would be a kind of reason, if I needed to find a reason for why I've ended up doing what I'm doing, is to find some of those new ways of doing things. You know, we have this common connection to the embassy of the future. So as ambassadors of the future, as we're pulling through the possibilities from the future, what might that look like? And Ubiquity University was one of them. It's a form of higher education that I think is much better at equipping people for the kind of world we live in now, but in particular the world that's coming down the pipeline, where we said, well, on the one hand, we've got all these massive challenges, so we need to really understand what the source of the problems are right now and do some real innovation to try to find solutions to the challenges. But that the core of those challenges is actually our inner world. So how we see the world, how we see ourselves, the way we show up in the world, because the quality of the way we show up in the world directly affects the quality of impact we make in the world. So we created a form of higher education that integrates personal development with kind of sustainability and innovation, regeneration, one might call it now. And students literally got 1/3 of their credits for head-based analytical work, to understand the world, to understand how things work from a kind of systems perspective. 1/3 of their credits for personal development, and 1/3 of their credits for an impact project. So an actual project in the world where they're trying to generate change. So that's what we've been doing at Ubiquity University, that came out of something called Wisdom University initially. And I helped get Ubiquity going back in 2012, and I've played different roles as we've gone along. So that is still going, and very much looking at the moment, partnerships with learning organizations, learning platforms who have transformational learning, and to work out how we can lift that whole ecology of transformational learning by enabling people to get degrees using their course content from these other platforms. So it's always thinking ecologically, well, like, what's our niche? What's Ubiquity's potential contribution in the ecology of transformational learning at the moment? Well, the ability to provide an academic container and the discipline and rigor around the work, you know, to research, because there's so much rubbish out there at the moment. Nobody quite knows what's true or not. So to have that proper academic discipline is important for yourself, to know that what you're saying is actually grounded in something, but also important for the rest of the world to go, okay, this actually has a proper background research discipline to it. So so that's Ubiquity, and it's still going, very much so. And I took a step back from Ubiquity about a couple of years ago, really, because I've been working on another diversity generating project, which was to find a way to make this world of consciousness that so many people talk about visible to everybody. And that's where we started developing this consciousness technology. That's basically technology that can give you data feedback and can also turn into light signals based on the fluctuations of the field of consciousness. So we often feel in ourselves when something is aligned or coherent or in flow, or when we're in a group, when the group suddenly clicks and you have a strong experience together and you enter maybe a flow state together, we all kind of go, oh, that was a really important moment, which is a good data point. It's subjective or intersubjective. But sometimes our ego or whatever, our history tricks us into believing like something, oh, that was really great, whereas who knows, was it really? And we can check it with each other, but then there's a whole field of relationship around that influences what you say to each other. And but this technology that we developed actually gives you a more objective feedback on what actually happened in the field. So you can see in the data what the key moments were during an event or during your day in terms of the effect that it has on the field of consciousness around you. And if you're playing with it one-on-one, like one of the lights here, you can, it'll give you feedback on the quality of your presence and connection, because it's presence and connectivity, and much more at the heart level than the head level, that actually affects the field. And the light gets brighter, really, the more effect you have, and it has different colors that respond to different data structures and things. So that's what we're doing at the moment, is playing with this idea of how do we bring the field of consciousness into people's awareness more in a way that's grounded in science as well, and turn as many different technologies and devices into things that could be consciousness interactive. So imagine a game, imagine if you're playing League of Legends or World of Warcraft or something, and the power of the spell that you cast will be related to the quality of your inner state. Like probably that's how magic originally worked. It wasn't a rational thing. It was very much an energetic thing. Then people will want to be good magicians in the game, but to do that means they're going to have to go and do their inner work and be conscious of their inner state and consciously activate it in a certain way to have that effect. So that's what one of the things we're working on now, is the ability to stream the Wyrd data into the back end of apps and games and those kind of things to make them consciousness interactive. So it's really about that. First, the awareness. Oh, there is this field that connects us. There is a way to look at it and track it scientifically. And therefore, if that's true, that we are all interconnected through this field of consciousness, and what happens in here extends out into the world around me, then one has to take responsibility for one's own personal development and inner state. But there's a way to do that now, because you can get the feedback through these kind of technologies. So that's the diversity generating thing that I'm most involved with at the moment.
Wow, what a powerful and really, really colorful and diverse answer. First, let's put it, we started from diversity and B, and I do love already this connection with the nature, and then I even could put it the very nice name. We started from diversity, right? Like B, and there's a diversity, and then you walked us through the Ubiquity University. And actually it's true, before I even today was preparing, doing my homework, so I had to go to ChatGPT and ask what is actually ubiquity in the terms of very easy words to explain our audience as well, because sometimes when I'm talking about my subject, neurodiversity, first now I know I have to start what actually this means, because I'm so kind of not blind, but I'm so deep too. So like, okay, it's neurodiverse, cognitive diverse, it's so easy, but some people, so I know that actually it's interconnectedness, and it's the same time the presence of everywhere. It was what Chad gave me. It's like internet, right? So it's the explanation of ubiquity. Who doesn't know, who never actually heard this term. So then of course in the part in this huge domain, you logically understand that if you are the part of everything, you are everything, is you, then of course then your every conscious choice should be responsible, right? because then it really, it's like, it doesn't matter that what you think that you are not impacting, but you actually, even by that, not taking this responsible choice, you are impacting. So it's huge. It's so interesting. And what you are doing, it's like, it's mind blowing, because we are people now in the Western, especially, we are so 95% just in our heads. And we always believe that by our heads as scientists or some formulas, we have to get evidence, we have to get proofs all the time. Those we know, the best proof in our body, and we always know, if you enter the room, you feel, you smell, you sense the energy of the room and dynamic of this group, and you already, but your body sends the signal like in trillion seconds, these people, this is not for me. But you still need to get evidence, you need that and that. And I'm so loving what you're doing, because you actually, for us people, you know, you don't need all that. You yourself, you feel it. You don't need so much evidence. But people, so many of us, it's so, they need evidence that yes, it's true, it's not true. And it's like, I remember one day I was asked about my faith. It was if I was believer, if I do believe in God. I said yes, I do. And said, yeah, but have you ever seen him? But I said, okay, do you believe in love? Yes. Have you ever seen it? What is the difference, right? So it's amazing what you're doing. And now my next question is, can you please give more also very useful information, first of all, because I know what you're doing, it's so important, it's really, really diverse, change maker. And then I know you're also running a conference, and it will be also one in October, right? Because some people maybe, wow, they will really just mind blown, the whole new planet, what we are elaborating now, and they would like to get more knowledge and help, involvement. That was my first question about Wyrd and Wyrd conference. And the second one, diversity is a beautiful thing. Biodiversity, right? We know that. Fingertips diversity, DNA diversity, we kind of accept that. We will be further on the cognitive diversity, but we know to pull all that together, that it can get benefits, give us benefits, collaboration, right? But then we have to implement inclusion, because like diversity is like a lot of beautiful dancers on the floor, but if inclusion, what can really glue them and invite to dance together. So my question is that, how do you believe we can, in togetherness, raise awareness, but also create more inclusive environments, like in teams, in classrooms, in governments, in universities, in communities, in small tribes? And now I'm, yes, just Wyrd and conferences. I'm reminding myself, and then inclusion. Yeah, in practical way, kind of.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the way, yes, every year we organize an event called the Science and Consciousness. And this year our focus is on people. So we've done like Wyrd time, looking at nonlinear time. We've looked at Wyrd space, nonlinear space. We're looking at people this year. So what are the qualities needed in people to be able to interact consciously with the field of consciousness? So that's really exciting. That's 20th to 24th of October.
In Broughton, we should talk.
Yeah, it's at Broughton Sanctuary.
So many people they've never heard it. I was like, no, okay, it was.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. Broughton, Broughton. It's not
everybody. Oh wow. Okay. I promise. Yeah.
It's a special place. So in there we've also got all the original equipment that we shipped over from Princeton University, who did the original research into how our intention and our group experiences affect the field of consciousness. So we ended up becoming a new home for that equipment and the library and things. So all of that is at the same location, so people can experience that. And it's basically a mix between the consciousness experiences, so the experiential side, and the scientists and researchers, and looking at how the stories relate to the theories and the findings and things like that. So it's always very exciting. We do a live remote viewing experiment, which is always fun. So a good mix of actually experiencing things and then thinking about them as well. And then, your question around diversity and inclusion is an interesting one, because, there's a systems law, which is that the relative complexity of a challenge requires the requisite diversity. So the more complex a challenge is, the more diversity you need to be able to solve it. And at the moment, we're facing massive complexity in the world, and therefore we need significant diversity to be able to engage that kind of complexity. But the challenge in working with diversity is that diversity can polarize or fragment if it's not managed well, or it can build on itself and come up with insights and solutions that none of the individuals could ever have come up with on their own. So obviously what you need to do with the diversity is to make sure that it coheres and kind of collaborates effectively, because otherwise it can make things worse when it fragments, and then you get lots of conflict and things don't go anywhere. So and that's an art, really, how you host and facilitate diversity in collaboration. I mean, one of the key things they found in the research is that having an overarching goal, or what you could call a superordinate goal, where each of the individuals or individual institutions can see that they need to achieve that goal for them to achieve their sub-goal, as it were. They know they can't do it together and that they need each other to be able to achieve that goal. And it becomes a kind of legacy project where if we achieve that, we'll really have created a significant positive impact, and people will build statues to us, kind of thing. But we know we can't do it on our own. We know we need each other. So that's a key condition for successful collaboration across diversity, because if you don't have that overarching goal that everybody buys into, then people just drop back to doing their own thing. They've gone away from the meeting or whatever it is that you've got. So that's one, and then things like transparency, honesty, being really explicit with each other. I always say in a lot of the leadership work I do that tensions are information. Right. So when a tension arises in a system, it's information about the system. So we shouldn't be passing judgment on this is right or this is wrong or this is good or this is bad. But here's a tension, and it's coming from let's say you've got a diverse group who are trying to collaborate together, and I'm feeling a tension about something. Then it's important for the group as a whole to hear that tension, because it's my perspective that's identifying a tension in the system as a whole. And if we address that tension successfully, then the system as a whole will function better. So, and that's a shift, because people tend to feel, I feel tension, or I'm upset about something or whatever, and therefore it's not working, or therefore this collaboration isn't good. And then the diversity becomes kind of fragmented. So it's about how you hold that collective space for people and enable people to bring tensions in as information that is kind of neutral in a way. Yeah, it might make me feel this way, but I need to see it as information for the system. And then everyone can look at it, and then you can go, okay, how might we integrate this tension in a way that will help the system function better? So what proposals might there be from all these different perspectives that we have to help us move forward and transcend and include the information that was in this tension? And so it's those kind of practices are really important, if diversity is going to succeed. And so we know diversity is needed at the moment because of the kind of complexity that we're facing. But there's both an individual practice, so that anytime we get triggered by something that's different to us, we don't immediately project that outwards and blame it on the difference.
Yeah.
But we know that it's in the relationship, so that means it's also something to do with us. So what is it in me that is getting irritated about this different perspective, let's say, about this different way of doing things, and why am I irritated about that? What that means that there's something in me that isn't whole, because I'm not able to value that perspective or that piece of diversity. So that means that piece of diversity isn't integrated in me somewhere. So that practice of making things explicit and going, okay, I'm feeling uncomfortable about this, and maybe you need a third person, or I mean literally like another person, to be able to, through coaching or therapy or whatever it is, to help you see what it is that might be in your unconscious or in your shadow that's making you react allergically to a different perspective, to the diversity around you. And if you've got that shared understanding and shared commitment as individuals, and you all accept that your response to a different perspective is also your responsibility, then you can get a very mature kind of space together for the diversity to be able to collaborate well. But if you bring lots of diversity together and all the individuals just get irritated because they're getting triggered by all the different perspectives, then, you get fragmentation. Basically, it breaks down, and that's worse than having conformity. It'll perform worse than conformity. But we know that diversity can perform better than conformity when you get the conditions right. So it's a whole inner practice, but also a collective practice of working really consciously with different perspectives and what they do to us. But fundamentally making sure, doing the work and committing to the challenge of working with diversity, because we know we need each other to achieve this goal, and we know we can't do it on our own. So that we're always reminding ourselves of the higher purpose of the collaboration, because that's, take a deep breath, lean into it, do the work that we need to do, the inner work individually and collectively, because we believe so much in that higher purpose that we know we need each other to achieve.
Wow, what a powerful message. And even now I'm challenging and doing what you are actually role model showcase. And first of all, thank you so much. Now I do love you, Peter. You are the greatest advocate for my PhD subject, because it's about diversity management. That it's exactly what you now say: facilitating, hosting. It's a lot of verbs, but it's action verbs. How to put it together, how to marry it, all that, because it can be really like you said, fragmentation can be chaos. Basically, if all these different perspectives will be put in the space on the arena, but the process are not professionally, strategically managed, it can be really even worse before all this diversity was put together. So, and it's brilliant what you have underlined again. It's how we started in Broughton. You remember that we were pulled together, all diversity of culture, gender, and cognitive diversity. But to be aligned, we made the vision, mission, like for 3, 4, 5 days, but actually for decades. But we start from each other, like everybody should align. And you remember I mentioned the very first one, it was beginner's mind. It's the same, that, okay, to be able even to contribute, to be diverse, you have to it's not like resentment, or you don't, but to be like beginner is like a glasses. Now I have these glasses, but I can take them away and try another glasses, maybe his glass or her glasses, which is pink, yellow with Mickey Mouse, I don't know. Then all of a sudden world completely different, right? So it's so important to not be all the time in our mind. No, it's just like that. And it's like you said, first of all, it starts from the conscious, responsible choice inside you, that you should be like, I want to get it done in togetherness, because there are so many solopreneurs, prima donnas, especially in academia. I've met that. So then I don't need you, and you, I know everything. Why should I ask you? But the challenges we have now, they're global, right? Really big challenges. Then it doesn't function like that. Even you're super prima donna, you cannot curate the whole humanity now. So thank you so much. Be the greatest advocate for my field, diversity management. And I know because of your sharp time, and of course we don't have that much time now, so I wanted actually just very, very briefly, no, not briefly, but I want deeply to thank you for the opportunity you have established, and we could listen to the greatest mind of our, I don't know, century at least, that Ken Wilber, right? And we were talking about diversity even without we ask. He started from that we have to be aware and focused now that gender diversity and gender energy diversity now so polarized, like feminine and masculine. That's what going on in our world now, wars and everything, because we are so much into the masculine. We totally now, like, I don't know, brutally I don't put, even not put away, but really like taken away from the mother earth, from everything which is feminine, which is not weak but also very, very strong when they're together, right? So first of all, thank you so much that you could invite Ken. And I was like shocking, because in Western culture in Scandinavia, when you just talk about spirituality, that we need more feminine, because you know how strong they are, like all this equality, they're like, you don't mention that for us, like, you know. So but we don't have that much time now to elaborate a lot about gender diversity and inclusion, because I want very much, but I want also to have enough time and focus on my greatest passion for now, because I'm showcasing neurodiversity. And you know that I was talking about it at Broughton. It was a beautiful moment. Thank you for sharing this moment for me, where I was sharing my story boldly about displaying OCD, neurodiversity. And I actually started my very first podcast. I was in mental institution in Norway. And now I do believe, not now, but even for me, it's still emerging new rapping terminology, narrative, storytelling, how we can approach neurodiversity, right? And it's so important, like I've shared, that 35% identified now has neurodivergence, and they are just identified. Can you imagine how many people in the continents like Africa, Asia, India, they have never have access to be identified, right? So my question is now, if we also can, with the flow, just freely elaborate about neurodiversity. And then I'm also the biggest advocate for that it also should be managed. Of course it should be, right? Otherwise it can be catastrophic output. Even the language we talk to those people, to me, it has affected me 15 years. I was weird, awkward, weirdo. I was not good enough. I have to be fixed. I'm weak. I'm broken. I'm all that stuff. But now I'm learning myself to look at that from not deficit-based model, but from strength-based model. What I'm doing together with Stanford, I'm the guinea pig, because I'm doing research on that PhD, but also I'm myself, right? So and for me, it has changed. Last 10 months has changed. Even one word like neurodiversity changed everything. That's why I wanted to share it in all corners of the planet. That's why I opened the podcast. So okay, Mike is yours in 1 minute. So the question is, which is actually, it should not be like rigid question, how you think now in terms, especially what you are doing, and soon again this conference, and then it's wow about people and diversity. Then you have my humble advice, guys, you should raise awareness about neurodiversity, cognitive diversity, and the importance of neurodiversity. Then also not just presence that now we know, but management, how we can manage the process, that all those people can feel valued, that they can contribute. They are not it's not weakness, it's uniqueness. Let's put like that. Thank you. Oh no, okay, I hope you have 5 minutes, and then we should wrap up.
No. I mean, that kind of does come back to first the valuing of it, which is what I was talking about earlier. And just to give you an example of how you can do that in practice. So I designed and ran a leadership program for the World Bank's global financing facility, which was working with healthcare sectors, ministers of health, CEOs, top leaders across the healthcare sectors in mainly African, some Asian countries. And one of the principles we'd have that I'd introduce to them, because what we did is we brought together all the different stakeholders, right, from all the different sectors, from public sector, private sector, from academia, from the civil society groups, because we need all of them to be able to work together to have the kind of effects we want to have on people's health and well-being. And one of the principles I introduced early on was radical curiosity. I was saying, you're sitting around a table with people who probably have a different perspective for you, but also care as much as you do, right? Overarching goal about the health and well-being of the country. So what I want you to practice is radical curiosity. That means you always should be trying to find out what the other people around the table are thinking and why they're thinking what they're thinking, because that will help you understand the system as a whole around healthcare. And that was, for all the various great things that came out of that program, that was one of the things people kept coming back to, was the ability to sit there with people who are holding different perspectives and be radically curious about how they're seeing the world and why they're seeing it that way, which means, all sorts of different kinds of diversity, which neurodiversity is one. But if you hold that perspective of radical curiosity, then you are learning about how other people see and interpret and engage the world. And that enriches your perspective and understanding of the world as a whole. So that's just a kind of very practical example of...
Noting immediately, just one, can I please adopt that? But of course I will be referenced to that keynote in Miami now in Stanford. But Peter Mary, he is, can I, radical curious. It's so powerful. You just say 2 words, I'm like, wow.
Yeah. And you can say, who worked with a World Bank leadership program. So this isn't just, this is really...
for Peter, for me, much more than leaders. Peter, I know he's my friend and he told the world that, but of course.
That'll give it some validity, but and the key is the context, right? That you're bringing together many different stakeholders from many different perspectives. I can send you, by the way, if you like, a report that we wrote about this whole leadership program, because it'll give you some context for it. But it's that, the points are really simple. Look, let's say this is an example, healthcare system, highly complex, moving very fast. Therefore, you need requisite diversity to be able to engage it successfully and innovate, fundamentally. To do that, for that diversity to be able to work well, people need to be able to hear and understand the different perspectives in the room, which is why you need to invite people into a space of radical curiosity. And then they'll start to learn, oh, wow, I'd never thought about things in that way. That really changes the way I was thinking about it. Hey, maybe we should hook up afterwards. And that kind of thing starts to happen. And then you get real change because you've got enough richness of perspective to be able to successfully engage the complexity of the challenge that you're facing. And so that kind of in a nutshell, is how one can frame it. And as I say, this was a, World Bank project. So it's not something that's been done on the side, but at country level with top leaders as well. So you can reference that and it'll help, hopefully help in some way. But this question of neurodiversity, I think is a really interesting one, and one that's really important at the moment. And the question is also, why has it suddenly come to the surface so quickly over the last few years? And I always look at life.
What's your opinion? Why do you believe?
Well, it's, we are like almost any other living being on this planet. We are biological beings in an ecology, and we're programmed very deeply to cope with the life conditions we're facing so we can survive, basically. And if the ecology and the life conditions change, we have to change our coping mechanisms, right? Our way of understanding the world, our way of engaging with it. And if we fail to do that, then we burn out. Then our biological system winds us down because we're not being useful to the system as a whole. So at the moment, that's why so many people are experiencing stress and burnout, because they can't make sense of what's going on in the world. It's way too complex, and they can't find a place where they can contribute. And that's when you get that kind of misfit between who am I, what's my purpose, what's going on in the world, and how do I contribute to it, if that's not there, then our biology winds us down. It's like the bees, right? Oh, you're not useful at the moment. We're going to wind you down until you've worked out what it is how you can understand the world better and how you can contribute. And I think what's happening at the moment is the complexity is so great that we are reaching the limits of our rational mind's capacity to be able to understand it and engage it successfully. Even the greatest of systems thinking approaches and things, we've realized that things are moving so fast that you may understand it now, but tomorrow it's changed. There's so many complex things. Everything's so connected that we just can't, we can never see it all. You can't map the system. I think we need to understand we can't map the system because there's so much stuff going on that we just can't see. And so, therefore, we have to have another way of knowing, right? That isn't just correlated to the rational mind that divides things up and tries to see all this complex, it's way too complex. We need to have a way of knowing that senses the whole first and gets a feeling for how all the different parts are then kind of interacting. So it's much more of an intuitive, felt sense of what's going on rather than a rational, analytical understanding of what's happening. So the kind of capacities that we're seeing, in people who are neurodivergent, which I think that language will change very quickly because I think we'll all realize we actually all have that.
Yes.
But actually, we all need it right now. That is that they are the forerunners, I would say, of people who have that sensitivity that's opening because the life conditions are requiring it. The problem is that we're in this transition of a materialist, rational, analytical society that's currently collapsing, but we haven't quite worked out what the new version of our society is going to look like. And so people who are sensing this future form and who are developing the capacities, biologically and in our consciousness to be able to sense in ways that we haven't been able to do when we've been locked into a purely rational, analytical way of doing it, are looking for their place because most of the world around them isn't reflecting back to them that way of understanding the world. And because there's so much stuff going on, we've made it all so complicated. If you open your sensitivity gates, you get overwhelmed with things, and nobody is training you to be able to manage those gates, to be able to manage your sensitivity. And that's because that's absolutely key. We can get a solution to any question we want. We just have to shift our state a little bit, tune in, ask the question, and we get the answer, right? But if you're opening the gates to everything, because everything's out there, all the information is out there already in the field, then it's all kind of cascading down, and you can't process it in a way that's actually useful to bring it into everyday life and form. So you just get overwhelmed and stressed. So I think what we're seeing is that emergence of a human capacity to be sensitive to information and energy outside of the purely rational and physical dimensions, because that's what we need to be able to evolve successfully as humanity and to be able to solve the challenges that we're facing. But as you say, it's almost like a competency set that is emerging in humanity, but that is not taught at schools or educational institutions, that our culture still doesn't really recognize as being valuable, and yet is an emergent phenomenon of the human journey right now, because it's what we need to navigate the complexity that we're facing, basically. And the sooner that we start to recognize that and the importance of it, the sooner we'll be able to use those talents and train people to use them well so that they're not overwhelmed by it all, to be able to make the kind of contributions that we need people to make at the moment, to navigate into the future. Basically, that's how I see it anyway.
And last stream is usually I do one stuff, like I'm playing magic with a Aladdin lamp and a wish. But in the vein of this, I think it is so important and just so right in the moment right now that we even can mention. First of all, again, I would like to thank you so much. You bounded me, you connect me with Kirsty, which is actually doing and helping already that in practical ways, because she is arranging this special channeling retreat program, worship, you call it guidance, which is called sense. It's actually for very high sensitive people, but I do believe, because like you mentioned, we are bombed all the time, we are extended to so much information, our brain is not actually even built, created to go on that speed all the time, and we don't know how to manage, how to sense, how to navigate this cascading information and navigating this gate. So I do invite then the people to go again on the Broughton and watch her amazing, brilliant idea, because she is very high sensitive person herself. I do believe now we all in this era at this certain level when we just meet and acknowledge that. So it's the sense, SENS, sense, how you can sense it, how you can not be really so burnout, overwhelmed in this transitional eras, which you mentioned, that we already, the old tools don't work anymore, but we don't know yet new tools. And the people like Kirsti, like you, like many, all I believe people in the Embassy of the Future and Benjamin, everywhere, we already know we need more tools, right? And that's why in togetherness we can give more and more to each other. So that's why I think in this event will be beautiful moment to wrap up. But I still try to manage one last minute ask you, if I had this my vice president, I call her, it's a small pink lamp I bought in Morocco, and it's a genie lamp. And but genie lamp, Gene, he was like very, maybe had a lot of time, 3 wish for everybody. I want to help as many people as possible, probably even more neurodivergent, I know. And I was scraping up my episode with magic. We do believe magic, like you said, we have it, we should create it. And this genie, she would like to get and fulfillment, like a wish or dream you have. So exactly what right now you are channeling, sensing, what that one wish could be for my small, okay, where is she, lamp? Okay, we can manifest it. It's beautiful pink gold from Morocco, and you open it and it's like, ta-da, one wish today for you, Peter Mary. Nice question.
I mean, I think fundamentally my wish is that humanity would slow down, take a breath, pause, go into nature, go into their inner worlds, find out what there is there that needs to be healed and made whole, breathe for a bit, and then practice, living our lives from that space, because then we'll find that we're much happier. The magic happens, every day, and we'll be able to do all the things that we want to do, but without all the head stress and all the kind of effort that we think we need to put into things to make them happen. And we'll find ourselves much more connected to ourselves, to each other, and to the rest of life on the planet. And that surely is the recipe for what we need to do to move forward together.
Amazing. And then my last bit, it depends. You remember Sujit? It depends. Amazing. It's about, yes, radical curiosity, because everything is real. It's so in context, and it depends. I love that. Remember, it was so funny. And of course, Sujit, hello to you. I don't want to offend anybody. It was so great, all the people. So we don't have time just to, but of course I wanted especially to thank you for the connections you've made, and for your, oh my God, amazing. I even not call that job, channeling, sensing you are doing, and you are every single day transmitted to the universe, because we are the wholeness, we are we all one. And I feel what you're doing here. So I'm so privileged that I could meet you in my life, and I would be so happy to follow your journey. And I'm sure, I'm not hoping, but I'm sure the audience, they can really be like mind blown with this today. And so just like if they want to reach out to you, they can always reach out to me, of course, and ask about all your job and involvements and projects. And just last, if you can give the information where people can actually get access to your books, to your knowledge, to your wisdom, to everything. So it maybe will be last, not my last wish, but...
Well, I've been running a blog for about 20 years. So I have a website that's got everything on it, petermerry.org.
Okay.
So people can just go there and find the different things. There's information about the books, but also many articles that have been there, and interviews and things. Find the bits that resonate most with them.
Amazing. So thank you so much, and thank you, my beautiful audience, that you are with us. You even to devote the most important commodity we have now the whole time. If you stand with us, you already commit, you already make conscious choice to listen to that. It's already the first step to be in this holiness and help each other make ripple effects. So until next time, stay healthy, blissful, and please step a little bit back, pause, breathe, like so, observe. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
You sense it right now. I'm hugging you.
Again, yeah, yeah. I'll have a hug.
Thank you. Blissful holiday. Just be the forest.
Yes.
And envelop you with forest, and for me as well. Take me there. Manifest that. Oh, Valeria also here now. Then I can channel it. Oh, and like speed down. Okay,
Yeah.
namaste and bye bye to everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Valeria.
Until next time. Bye.